We are here today. I'm Jennie Wolek in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I'm here with my friend Laura Hyatt in Savannah, Georgia. And Laura and I just love the whole people conversation. And so each week we've been kind of hopping in here, whether you're joining us on Zoom, thank you, friends, or you are watching live on Facebook, or you can come back and watch there later as well. We just want to chat about people because people are pretty important in our business. And unfortunately, we can't do this business without people.
Wow.
I don't know, deep thoughts. But anyway, so today we just wanted to chat around this topic, and I'll let Laura kind of share who she is and why she has
Why I exist in this space.
why she's valid in the people conversation, because I think she's pretty important people.
Well, I'm just going to go ahead and figure out how many times we can say people during this conversation. It should be real fun. So anyways, you've seen me on here before. So Laura Hyatt out of Savannah, Georgia, and I co-own and run a real estate team here. For the last 15 years, I have moved from part-time admin in college to co-owner of a multi-million-dollar company. And that is a journey all about people. When we first started, it was a one-man show, a business partner, and I was his right-hand assistant. And today, I think there's 12 of us.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a certain amount of children. Like, do you really know? A lot of people, right? And we've seen a lot of people come and go over the years as you level up your people game, as you get clear on who you are, kind of what you're looking for, as your business evolves, right? And so it's a journey, and you have never arrived. So we've created this space where we get to talk about people, and we get to talk about the lessons that we've learned, and hopefully some of that will be helpful for you.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Laura, and I have been in the business almost 22 years now, and it's crazy how time flies when you're having fun. And I have failed through so many people. Unfortunately, that's not something to be proud of. However, I just think that every time something didn't work out with someone in our world, I learned something. I got better at being a leader, or being clearer with our standards and our rules, because I think that us realtors get into this business because we're likable, we are good at helping people, and we get our energy from that. And then we realize after a point of time that, oh, I need help. I'm drowning. I can't do this alone. And then we're just so want people to like us that we bring them on. Hey, you're nice and smart and seem like a good person. Why don't you come along on this journey? And they're like, oh, wait, you aren't great.
You can breathe, but you're not talent.
Yeah. So we've learned a lot here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We have had a team of 10 or so at one time. Now we're a little bit smaller, and we have virtual leverage now. So the people leverage in your business can look very different for each team. You can have different roles, but really the MREA does provide the model for us, and that's the framework of how to best do this. But Laura, I kind of wanted to just ask this question. We'll kind of answer these and then get some feedback from our friends if they want to chat at all. You know, how does someone know that they need leverage?
Yeah, and I think that story is a little bit different for each person based upon your business and based upon like what you have going on. But typically, you know that you need leverage when you're doing all that you can do, and there's still so much left to be done, and you're stuck doing the things that just aren't your highest and best use, right? Like, so think about your average dollar per hour. I know for me, average dollar per hour, my highest and best use is not spent scrubbing the floor, right? Therefore, we're going to have someone come in and clean the office, right? So what are the different things in your business that, God, I could pay someone to do this for a lot less money than it's costing me in a personal dollar per hour? I think back to a couple of years ago, so I went to college for photography. I have a degree in photography, love it, and was taking all of our listing photos. And several years ago, Don, my business partner, was like, hey, shouldn't we get a photographer for our listings? And I was like, no, I can do it. I'm totally fine. And it was the week that I spent 15 hours of that work week. So 15 into 40 is over a quarter of my work week. editing and taking photos. And I was like, I am done. Like, this is not my highest and best use. This is not the best dollar per hour for our company. And so within a week, we hired a new photographer who is still with us, and she does amazing work. And I got so much time back. The photos were actually better than what I was doing. And it was a lot easier on the entire company, kind of elevated our company. So there are people out there that can do your job better than you, especially when you kind of peel off those layers of your business, right? You cannot remain chief cook, head waiter, bottle washer, all that stuff, and expect your business to grow. It's just not possible.
Yeah, but Laura, I mean, you had that aha and had the support to make it happen because you had a partner in your business that saw the pain and how silly that was. But so many of us are solo agents. We don't know any better. We haven't learned or taken classes or even know where to start. And so then, we probably are telling ourselves things like, I don't have time to bring somebody on. I can't afford bringing somebody on. I mean, what would you say for those responses?
Well, my unfiltered self would call bull crap on that. I filtered that a little bit for you. Here's the deal. I'm always laughing at that. Here's the deal. You make time for the things that are important to you. And you just haven't decided yet that this is important. And one of the easiest ways to decide that it's important is to do an exercise that we like to call the not to do list. So as you're going through your day, your week, kind of keep a running tab of what are the things that, man, I just don't enjoy this part of my job. It's necessary, but I don't enjoy it. Or, oh my gosh, if someone could just do this one task for me, that would be great. And it can be as small or as large as you need it to be. And what you're doing by completing that exercise is you're getting really clear on your ideal job description. And you're also crafting a job description for this leverage that is going to come into your life. But without that clarity, you're just going to spin your wheels.
Yeah, I know my first leverage started out of desperation, and I had taken Bold. Max was probably in the room with me, 2010 for the first time, and it changed my life. I remember step 4 or 5 in that kind of breakdown, everything shaking part of that class that so many of you know what I'm talking about, where you just want to quit and give up and you're stressed out and busy and you're seeing results, but you're a mess. That's how I was, at least. I remember the coach asking a question and he specifically called me out because I had raised my hand about, envisioning my life of, Mia was a young girl. She was 4 years old and I was in the full-time mommy mode, part-time real estate agent. So I had desires to be successful in real estate. And number one, though, was to be a great mom and to take her to school and pick her up from school and be with my daughter. And so I was really in that period of super stress. And I had so much so that a girlfriend of mine, we were at a volunteer organization event and she says, Jennie, how can I help you? I love you. You're my friend. And I see all the stress that you're just carrying around with you. How can I help you? And this was my first hire. It was done totally wrong. It was not following any of the things that Laura and I are going to teach you in the class that we have, but it was not following the models. It was not following career visioning. And yet, it taught me the value of a little bit of relief that I could start breathing again. So you might just be at that phase of your business where you just need to breathe. You need to get some of those tasks, like Laura said, you shouldn't be editing video pictures or making flyers or getting all the things you're doing sucked into that's taking up your valuable time. You need to be doing your number one job descriptions, which is lead generating and following up, going on appointments, negotiating contracts, and practicing and role play. Those are time blocked first in your day. But what my friend did, another way, I kind of learned 2 lessons with bringing on my friend. First off, she wasn't the right fit for the role of being any kind of an admin. Eventually, she worked her way into being a buyer agent as we had an admin that was more of a fit for the admin role. And but she was loyal And she also allowed me, she luckily had a spouse with a salaried position. So this wasn't about the money for her. So she allowed me to pay her per transaction. And so what that had done for me at that time was it freed me up to know that I'm only out this expense if I sell something. That's how she's going to get paid. And so that made me feel all right about it. And so over time, obviously we know that's not the best way because that's not scalable. Over time, you're going to end up, if you have a person and you're basing it on the number of units you sell, it will really get out of whack with what a salaried or commission position should earn. And so be very careful with that. But it did just teach me, Laura, to breathe. And I see the other side of my stress and my anxiety.
Well, and I think one of the things that is required whenever you have leverage too is the willingness to let go, right? A lot of us are really good at what we do. We have worked our tails off. It's what got our business to where we are today. And that one of the number one reasons that leverage will fail you is because you held on too tight and you were unwilling to let go of the things that you needed to let go of, right? Like I'll never forget when I was a kid, we had a little cabin at the lake and my parents were teaching us how to water ski. And my brother was up and he was skiing. And, the first couple of times you're going to fall, right? And I will never forget, he fell and the boat's going and he refused to let go of the rope. And so there's this giant wall of water over his face. You can see it. And it's like, if you just let go, it'll be a lot easier, And so we're hollering from the boat, like, let go of the rope. And so my question is, how many of us are still holding on to the rope? Joy's raised her hand. Yeah, we're still holding on to the rope because we think that we can do it so much better. Again, it's a lie, right?
Now, isn't that what we read in Traction? The vine, hanging on to the vine. And so,
go to the vine. Yeah, you got to let go. Jennie, you got to let go if you want to grow. You're welcome.
You got to let go if you want to grow. No, I wrote down when you said that, I died laughing because Laura and I share the same coach, Jordan Freed. And I was just like, Jordan, I just see so many of my mega agent friends that just think it's just all ego and they're just hanging on, like Laura said. And then I said, basically you just got to get over yourself. And Jordan, of course, puts flowery words attached to it and basically saying, yeah, you're not that special. So get over yourself. You're not that special. And there are people that are going to just, like, we know relationships are rocket ships and will help you just exceed all of the things you thought possible. And I think the misconception, Laura, is people think that when they bring on people leverage in their business, that they're going to have to work more or harder. And it's
just different. You just work different.
You work different. And it's just awesome. After they're trained and you feel confident and comfortable with them, after you've helped guide them through those 30 and 60, 90 days, then you are just like smooth sailing. As long as you've got these check-ins and accountability.
Yeah. And I was talking to a friend of mine last night about this. You get to practice one of my favorite leadership styles, which is the 10-80-10 principle, right? So that initial 10% is you as the leader, directing. This is what I need. This is what I want. This is what I think this looks like, et cetera, et cetera. The 80% is that other person doing the heavy lifting. They're doing the actual creation, the making it happen, the execution. And then you come back in for that final 10%, which is like tweaks, corrections, revisions, right? So you're on the front end and you're on the back end. So you do still have some of that control, but you don't have to do the meat. It's literally the 80-20 principle lived out. We just kind of broke it up a little bit differently, and it makes it fun, because especially those of us that have that kind of internal teacher drive, when you can see the light bulb come on for someone that you are working with, like, it's amazing to see them carry out something that you had in your brain. And if you have real talent on board, guess what? It's probably going to be a heck of a lot better than what you thought it was. They're going to do it a lot better too.
Oh my gosh, that is so crazy because I've never heard that ever. Thank you for sharing it. And we hang out quite a bit. So
I know, it's so weird. I feel like you would have heard that one.
And I've never heard that. And it's beautiful. And that also made me think that's only if and when you have the right person. So you had to have had done all of the right, attracting the right person and training them.
Yeah. And
So,
we have to be careful, guilty, and Jenny, I'm sure you're guilty of this too at some point in your past, is when we hire out of pain, we only get more pain. Right. And so being willing to slow down, to get clear on what is the job description, to get clear on who am I looking for? What are they going to look like? I mean, real clear.
mhm.
And then putting that out into the world and then following the process on the hiring stages and whatnot, and doing the proper training and the check-ins. And then it gets fun. So yes, you are going to have to slow down in order to speed up. And what I want you to hear is that slowdown is an investment in your business. It is not a, ugh, I got to do this. It is like, no, no, no. I'm investing in the next evolution of my company, of my business.
Yeah.
Am I ready to rumble?
Oh, who's that? I'm going to mute you, Nikki. Well, Nikki over here in the chat was saying that she has been looking into having some help with a virtual assistant. I'm a little biased to the cyberbacker. We have 3 in our team right now that are helping with the listings and transactions and social media. And what's crazy is they're already trained and talented, and they have accountability over in cyberbacker as well with coaches. They have head backers. But also what I've learned is like this new market, Max is in my market, and I think he'd agree the number of units is down. We're a little short of what we had helped, number of families we'd helped last year. And so now more than ever, affordable leverage is pretty important too. So if you're going to be watching your numbers and your bottom line, that's a great way to do it. And we're having our cyberbackers. It's not a part of their original job description, but we're having them go through our database and sending out texts that look like they're personalized, coming from our agents, and doing these extra touches that we just weren't able to get to, any overdue task, any unmets. The cool thing is they're going out and just messaging all of these unmets in our database and just saying, hey, it's Jennie at the Wolek Group. In the past, we had connected. Do you still need some real estate help? Many people are very nice, but they're responding, and they had never responded ever before all these years. Some are saying stop and unsubscribe. Okay, cool. Clean on up and get on out. But I just feel like if I'm Laura, and you tell me if you agree, right now in December, we're here basically tomorrow, now more than ever, and you're a master of our database return on investment, we've got to be super clear and concise in our database. And that is something that a people can help you with, because you don't have the time to be diving into and scouring through your database. You need to be looking for buyers and sellers. What do you think about that, Laura?
Yeah, I mean, your database is your business, period, end of story. And so this time of year, historically, when it's a little bit slower seasonality wise, is the perfect time to revamp any systems, right? There are 2 questions from a productivity standpoint that I love to ask. And the first one is, what am I doing that if I stop doing, no one would notice? And then the second one is, what are we not doing that when we are executing on it will increase our efficiency, our effectiveness, or our productivity? And when you put those goggles on through every facet of your business, it is such a great lens and great filter to help you to see what needs to be cut, what's just junk, including, I mean, Jennie, when people respond to text and say stop, I'm like, great, delete. Like, it's one less person I got to think about in a massive database, right? I only want to do business with people that like me and trust me. Okay, if you don't need our help and or you don't want it, okay, cool. I'm going to move on to some other people. And so looking now, I mean, it is the no database member left behind kind of deal. Like, you're turning over every rock, and it's such an easy time of year to do that because we're in the holidays, right? So for Thanksgiving, it was like a season of gratitude. You can come in now with like, happy holidays, I just wanted to check in, do you have any real estate plans for 23? It's an easy ask this time of year, like such an easy ask. And so if we are not maximizing that, I think we're missing out. And that is definitely a great way that leverage can come in. I've seen a couple comments in the chats that are happening that like, yeah, cyberbackers, virtual assistants are great. Is there any way, and our coach says this a lot, can you do some sort of like macro release to get a micro response, right? Can you batch some things so that it feels personal to the receiver? And those that want to will raise their hand and respond back. Like work smarter, not harder, but make the contacts.
That'll be Laura and I's next class is our database class, right? We love that stuff. So, well, I want to hear from you guys. There's some of you here that are joining us. You can put it in the chat or you can speak out loud. I mean, what are some of your pains that you're living with in your leverage piece of your business that we can help you with? If you have any. We've got some friends watching on the Facebook as well.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So earlier, I think Laura, you mentioned, if you have like a teacher's heart while you're training people, I do not have one of those. And Jennie knows probably better than most. It's not that I don't want to help people. It's just that as I start working, I guess I'd rather lead by example and just, let's get this work done. I am starting to really understand slowing down to speed up. And so I appreciate you saying that. Do you have any advice, either you or Jennie, on maybe best practices when you bring somebody new in to really make sure they're being trained appropriately in that 30, 60, 90-day time frame?
Yeah, it's a couple things. Remember that the why before the what is the most important thing, right? So you automatically know what it is that you're doing and why you do it, right? It's like muscle memory of sorts. They don't know because they're not you. So slowing down to explain the why before the what. Hey, here's why we do X, Y, Z, because it's going to make that easier, or it's this part of the process. The other thing I love to do is after, like, shadowing is one of my favorite ways to train. So if you're already doing that, you're awesome. And one little exercise you can tack onto the end of that is doing a debrief, right? Let's say they shadow you on an appointment, right? Debrief at the end. Okay, we're done with the client. They've gone on to do their thing. So how did that go in your opinion? What'd you learn? What did you think was really exceptionally done? Hey, where was I a little clunky, right? It's a great opportunity for you to improve. Hey, what was confusing for you? Hey, do you have any ideas on how we can make it better next time? And what you're doing is you're checking in for comprehension and understanding, but also giving them a little opportunity for some buy-in, right? And here's how this is going to go. So on the 30, 60, 90 as well, like go ahead and schedule those calendar dates to do the check-in. Have they accomplished the things in the 30 days, the 60 days, the 90 days? One of my favorite things to do in training too is on like a Friday to do a recap, just to check in. Hey, how did you understand the things that we went over this week? Did you get it? Is there something that's still a little clunky, right? Because Monday should be setting expectations for here's what training is going to look like this week. It could be lessons learned. It could be shadow me on XYZ appointment. It could be, hey, go meet with so-and-so because they're going to train you on Dotloop or DocuSign, for example, because they're better at it than I am. And then on Friday, you already have a calendar appointment where you are checking for comprehension. Make sense?
I love that. And I'll add to it for a different couple ideas is if it's an admin role and they have tasks and checklists that, are the standards of what you just do inside of a transaction or a new listing or whatever it is. I mean, you're doing it yourself. If you're a solo agent, you already know how to do it all. So start making videos now of your process. So open up your Zoom. I'll teach you how, Max. You open up Zoom, you hit record, you share your screen, and you just start talking to yourself. You put yourself off in the little corner and you say, okay, today I'm going to teach you how to upload a new listing into the MLS. First, I'm going to go to Matrix, and then I'm going to click here, and then I'm going to add pictures, and this is how I do it. And so you could start by making a training library. You can have those live on a YouTube channel on a private list where nobody sees it except for people that have the link, and then put those on a spreadsheet. I'm sure there's other efficient ways of doing it as well. You can keep them in your Google Drive too, but the thing I want to remind you and everyone is that you're doing it anyway if you are the person. So whether if it's an admin, I still think it's important. Like we have a new girl that just joined our team and more of the marketing and events part of our team. But in her 30 days, she was tasked with shadowing an agent on inspections and closing. So she could see how it all goes down, and because she's not a realtor and she has no desire to be one. So having, even if they're an agent, they shadow admin, the admin shadow agent, so that they're understanding the whole process and what everyone does inside of it. That was just kind of my thought there.
Yeah, and I think the most important thing to remember is to be unclear is to be unkind. Right. And so we really want to make sure that the people that we're bringing on board, that if we've taken this amount of investment time, they've taken that amount of time and they're joining our organization, like we have a responsibility to train them correctly. Right. In that first 90 days, we're still dating. We're not getting married. Like we're just dating in this time period. So we're still kind of filling each other out and whatnot. And we have a responsibility to do it well. Right.
Well, I'm like Max, and I just assume everybody knows what to do and we're fine. Let's just go. And I just think the best of people. And I've shared the systems and the videos, but at the end of the day, we really have to communicate. And that is the way to win in your business, is having a conversation. So you may need a 30-minute on purpose, one-on-one. We're really just going to chat. What are you learning? What do you need help with? How, where are we going from here? And even if it's an end of day text, I learned this from a class one time, is in their first 30, 60, 90 days, they need to report to you. You shouldn't be chasing them down each day. They need to send a text and say, here's what I learned today, or here were my goals and what I achieved. And I just think that so many times we think it's our job to chase them down. They're still trying to impress us, right? We're dating. Yeah, we're dating.
Yeah. In the chat, Joy's saying that she she likes to throw up on her admin and then has to re-explain it over and over again. Yeah. Been there, done that, right? So yeah, and it's that if I just slow down. And so when we are in the moment, it's hard to slow down, right? You don't want to, we're rushing out there, we're gonna get to the next appointment, yada, yada, yada. That's why those pre-scheduled times are so helpful, right? A time first thing Monday morning and a time that makes sense for you on a Friday. It creates those opportunity slots. Now, as things come up and you have the availability, yeah, sure, train away. I think the other thing is letting the new person in your world know that I want you to ask questions. It is okay for you to ask questions. Oftentimes we need to give permission, especially if on the disc profile they are a high S or a high C. They need to hear that permission from you. And you need to reinforce that over and over. Like, hey, it's okay. If you don't understand it, just ask me, right? Because I'm going to go, you get out yourself. I'm going to go 90 miles an hour. And I'm going to assume that you've got it. And so my shortcut, Jenny, I know you crack up this one, is fire hose, water hose, right? And what I mean by that is, hey, when we're in training, I'm going to go at my tempo and my speed. And I realize that may or may not be your speed. So occasionally I'm just going to drop in there fire hose, water hose. And what I mean is fire hose, like, holy crap, shut it down. That's too much information for me to understand. And water hose is like, we could pick this sucker up a little bit more. I'm kind of bored over here, right? And so by asking fire hose, water hose, it's a shorthand for me to understand my tempo as it relates to their tempo. And it keeps us in alignment and when training is happening.
It's so funny. Now I use fire hose all the time because our brains, we've been in this business. It's our business. We know every intimate detail of every piece of it. And so sometimes I'll just catch myself going, woo, all the way down and deep into like all these crevices that they don't need to know that right now. And I'll just have to go, okay, time out. I'm gonna stop. So I love
and the plane.
I love that, the giving them permission to say, okay, slow down. I got this. Well, for your guys' time, we want to honor it. And thank you for hanging out with us this little bit. Laura and I love talking about leverage and all of our lessons that we've had over the years, whether they're positive or opportunities for improvement. And so I'm going to share with you guys just something real quick that Laura, I'll tell you what, if you don't know Laura Hyatt, she is amazing at creating graphics and Canva. She is. Laura, this is your,
My claim to fame.
yes, you are so good at this. So if you guys
All
can,
of you right now. Okay.
if you guys can see this, this is a model.
There we go. So
So
yeah, this is,
Laura created this. It's beautiful.
thanks. This is we call it our badass talent model, or I guess the power people model, whatever. This is the model that we use to attract, train, and retain top talent. And what we cover in our course, Power People, that's coming up here, I think it starts next Friday, the 9th, is we're going to work through this model. And the first session in the course is the attract, right? It's all about understanding clarity on who you are, who your company is, who you're looking for, navigating the hiring model so that you can make the proper offer. In the second session in our course, which is the following week, it's all about training. So how do you set proper expectations? What the heck is a 30, 60, 90? How do you create a great one? And then our 3-part training system, which you can see there in the model, is the shadow role play and a training portal. And those things we've found over the years through trial and error are the things that really set you up for success and set your new person up for success when they onboard with you. And then the final course in our, or final session in our course, let's get that right, is the retain piece. And that the entire goal on the retain is to develop longevity with your people. And we're going to walk you through how to develop a great team culture, how to love your people well. How do you start to develop and empower other leaders within your organization so that they stick around? I mean, new people are fun, but man, it sure is sweet to have the lifers, the ones that have been with you 5, 10 years, right? And you get to see them kind of grow along the way as your company grows. So this is the model. We navigate through this with you. We give you all the tools and the systems that come with it. And Jennie and I banter back and forth some. It's pretty great.
That's what I'm sure people are excited about. Well, I just want to share that, it doesn't matter the size of your real estate team or business. You can really get to the retain session quickly with people after, you're seeing them show up as leaders. They're helping you with, maintain that culture that's based on your values. And that's all the stuff that Laura and I share and talk about, is how we've evolved over the years and the tools that we use, and give you the actual playbooks and toolkits so that you don't have to start from scratch. Because that was always my problem, Laura, is that I would take career visioning or recruit select in the old days, and they would tell me, all these things, but not how do I really do it for a listing manager or transaction coordinator. It was very generic, and it just was not clear, because I found that those 30, 60, 90s need to be, 5 to 6 items that they got to nail these. These are the most important things that they nail in order to rock this role, because otherwise you're sometimes fluffing it all up with all of these things that just get in the way. Right? I want clarity, so that, that says right there, clarity on what they need to be learning in the early days. So that's something I love that we share.
Yeah, I mean, the fun part about this course is we've taken everything that we know, have learned, and wish we would have had, and bundled it up into one course. And so after each session, you get a link that has the entire toolkit. So if there's a tool or a system or a freaking spreadsheet that we've talked about and how to use it, it's in the link that comes to you within 24 hours of taking each session. And so you can plug and play, right? That's the whole point, is instead of having this shelf help, I took this course and I have these ideas and I heard this one thing one place somehow, however many years ago, it's no. I took the course, I got the tools, and I picked up the freaking hammer and I started swinging. Get to work. That's the whole point of this course.
I love you. Well, so many of you are my friends, and me, and I'm a systems freak, and Laura just crushes it even more. So if you want to learn good stuff, you guys should sign up. We've got one starting next week. It's called Power of People. And this wasn't just a sales pitch, but Laura and I really do like talking about this stuff. So hopefully you got some good info. And of course, hey, reach out if you have any questions or need any help. And I guess that's it. Laura, what else?
I don't know, take our course. It's not a sales pitch, but listen, we could talk about this stuff all day long, right? And we have a course to teach. And so,
Well, we like sharing the message because we've been you and I get to keep learning and growing every
oh
time.
gosh, so we could talk, we literally could talk about this all day. Like you could just keep this little Facebook Live and this Zoom open and we would just
No.
be unending.
Yeah, that's all. We're done. All right. You guys have a great day. Happy one. See you later. Bye now. Bye guys. Thanks for joining us.